In this video I want to talk about buying used gear. Recently on Fuji Facebook groups and other Facebook groups I've been seeing a lot of like, is it worth it buying this camera used or buying this lens used or similar posts, which to me just don't make sense, because when it comes to used gear I think it's always worth it buying used, and just doesn't make sense buying everything new when there's plenty of good condition used gear that you can buy for a fraction of the cost. When it comes to my gear, I think I bought basically everything used, and I don't think I could afford having half of the gear I have if I was buying everything brand new. There's a donkey right there. Drone, bought it used. I don't think I have ever seen Tarifa with this little wind. It's crazy. Usually all of this would be full of kite surfers, wind surfers, whatever they're called. I understand that for some people it might be difficult trusting online sellers, especially when we hear all of the crazy stories we do hear about people getting scammed, getting sent wrong gear, or just getting their money taken away for something that's broken. But in my experience, buying used gear was always great, and I never had any major issues with the gear I bought. I had an issue once where I bought a Fuji X-T3, and for some reason it was overheating much more than it was supposed to be. Like, this thing would overheat after 10 minutes of shooting 24p 4K. So I contacted the seller back, told them what the issue was, and they said they always used it just for photos and that they would be happy to get the camera back for a full refund. So even when it goes bad, most people don't really want to scam you. They don't want to sell you something that's broken, and I think it's quite safe, especially if you buy through a safe used marketplace. I know Facebook Marketplace is known for really shady people and scams, but stuff like eBay, stuff like Wallapop here in Spain is definitely a great option. It makes it really safe and really easy to buy used gear, and yeah, I've bought tens if not hundreds of pieces of gear online used, and I never had an issue. Let's see what's in my bag and what has been bought used. So to start, Fujifilm X-T3 used, Samyang 12mm f2 used, Viltrox 56mm f1.4 used and abused. I'll make a video about this lens. 7 Artisans 35mm f1.2 used, vintage Tamron Fujica X mount 200mm f4.5. I wasn't alive in the 80s to buy it new, so used. DJI Mavic Air used, iPhone used. The Tamron 17-70 f2.8 that's filming this right now, used. The Fujifilm X-H2s that's filming this right now, new. I bought that new. So the main reason why I bought this camera new and not used is because there weren't many on the used market, and the ones that were up for sale were priced more than I could get a brand new one for. So it just didn't make sense at the time. And this camera is the first brand new camera I bought in more than 10 years of me buying cameras. Anyways, here's a list of all of the gear I bought used over the years, and let's go fly the drone. I feel like most people really underestimate how durable a camera really is. This gear is made to be used by professionals. It's made to be taken out, to be used in all kind of situations. That's why a lot of the gear we buy is weather sealed, it's dust proof, because the camera companies expect you to take them in rough weather and to actually use the gear. I often see people on groups complaining about cameras being scratched and stuff like that, which, why wouldn't your camera be scratched? As long as the sensor, the screen and the viewfinder are clean, who cares? Like, a couple scratches on the paint or on the body of the camera won't really affect anything when using the camera. It will only affect the price that you sell it to another person that really cares about having a camera that doesn't have any scratches. But at the end of the day, it's more important to create what I want to create with my camera than having a clean camera that doesn't have any scratches on it that I can then resell for a higher value than a camera that maybe I used and abused, but I made everything that I want to make and I didn't spend time worrying if it's gonna get scratched. You can take a look at my X-T3, which looks like I've taken it to war by how many scratches and how many dents it has, but the thing still works. It still doesn't give me any issues most of the time, and even when it does, I understand. I abused that thing and it's still working, so cameras are much stronger than you think. Another thing that I see people worry about is the shutter count, and especially with mirrorless cameras today, shutter count doesn't really matter because a lot of the cameras you can use electronic shutter without any issues. Even when you can't, a shutter count won't really tell you that much because, for example, my old Canon 5D Mark II, when I bought it, had 200,000 shutter actuations. By the time it died, it probably had closer to 300,000. The shutter didn't even die. The camera broke because I took it in the water in a waterproof case that turned out to be not waterproof. That's why I don't really care about shutter counts, and I think you shouldn't care about it either. And I think at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter whether you're using a new camera, a used camera, or whatever. As long as you're using it to create whatever you want to create, as long as you're having fun shooting with it, I think it's all the same. Just get the camera you want, get the camera that will help you do the work you want to do. And if you can get it cheaper by buying it used, definitely buy it used. If you get more peace of mind by buying a new camera, and if you can afford buying a new camera, buy it new. Here's something for the boys.